It'll take time to restore chaos.
So I recently finished watching The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, which, considering the kind of anime and media in general I usually favour, might be surprising to some people. However, the past couple of years I've made a serious effort to diversify the kind of media I engage with in general, television being one of those kinds of media, anime or not, and it's led to me finding things that a younger me might have passed over that current me now really enjoys. Would highly recommend stepping out of your comfort zone, especially if you only watch anime. Please do, in fact. Anyway, as I was watching Fragrant Flower, I did what I sometimes find myself doing now and switched between both the original Japanese and the English dub for the first several episodes to decide what it is I want to stick with. And as someone who perhaps regrettably has a lot of experience with anime, I almost immediately noticed that the English dub was a little bit off.
You're the ones who bumped into me.
What? Wait, are you saying this is our fault?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying over and over again. I even had to step to the side a little.
It was because I've never felt that way before in my life when a guy stops and stares at me. Suddenly you made my heart race.
Up close, you're really very tiny, aren't you, little girl?
She's so cute.
See, provided you make sure to engage with a wide variety of media from a wide variety of places, you come to appreciate that anime is basically a medium unto itself, with its own very specific sensibilities when it comes to animation, storytelling, music, and yes, voice acting. Anime, or modern anime at least, generally has a specific kind of performance. Anyone who thinks that Japanese people actually talk like this probably don't talk to many people in general. And over time, as anime dubbing has become more of an industry, this has bled into how English dubs are directed and performed so that they more closely match the Japanese performance. And while this is obviously show dependent, the cast for an anime like Psycho Pass or Sonny Boy isn't going to be directed like they're in fucking My Clueless First Friend or something like that. There is now a standard baseline that you can generally expect from dubs, regardless of style, meaning it becomes pretty obvious when a show doesn't hit that baseline. I want to be clear, this isn't me saying that the actors are bad, or even that they're giving bad performances. I don't get that sense at all. What they are, outside of a handful of veteran cast members, is inexperienced, with at best only a handful of additional voiceover credits, and with many, this being their first ever VO gig, anime or otherwise. Now that's one thing, but far from a real issue, provided the actor gets good direction. Unfortunately, the director is also inexperienced with anime dubbing, his only prior works being the Amazon dubs of the Rebuild of Evangelion series, which had the benefit of being mostly populated with actors with decades of experience. But even then still suffered somewhat from the occasional stilted delivery or oddly timed line.
Fine then. If you can move around and make yourself useful and help Ken.
I don't know if non-actors really realize just how much faith actors need to put in their director, especially in voiceover, which can so often be devoid of the context that other forms of performance can take for granted. Things like rehearsals or even just being in the same room as your castmates are luxuries, and without proper support, even a talented actor can flounder in a medium they clearly aren't experienced in. Like I said though, I don't think these are bad performances, I think they're just bad anime performances. But that got me thinking about what it is exactly we think of as a typical anime performance. As I kept watching, gradually hearing the actors settle into their roles, I couldn't help but reflect on the assumption that a performance in this medium would have typical intonations and tones and deliveries. The presence of these things had just become expected, but now because of their absence, I was almost being forced to actually acknowledge their presence to begin with, and how kinda weird and unique it is that anime has developed this vocal style, and think about how that even happened. I became increasingly aware of the fact that there were actors behind these lines and colours, giving voice to them, making specific decisions, probably learning more about them as we went along like I was, and while some might call that immersion breaking, I don't know, call me Bertolt Brecht, but I think the unique perspective the show gave me and the way it forced me to reflect on my own unconscious biases and assumptions more than made up for any immersion lost due to an unexpected performance. Which actually is the whole point of epic theatre in the first place, so yeah, call me Bertolt Brecht. The reason I'm going on about all this in the first place is because a couple days ago, Amazon released an AI dub of the anime Banana Fish, as well as a few others like Pet and No Game No Life, the latter of which doesn't even make sense because it already has an English dub, but whatever. It sounds atrocious as expected, but honestly that's the least of my concern. It's going to get better the more stolen data they feed these things. The principal concern should be the workers whose labour is being stolen and replaced with this stuff. Allowing this to just go along means these soulless, cuntish billionaires will just keep pushing the envelope until everything is automated and our only purpose is to serve as organ donors to keep these ghouls alive. But another thing occurred to me as I was watching the backlash to this unfold. You know how I spent the last 3 minutes just going on about how much personal meaning I could mine out of analysing this flawed human performance? No matter how good or bad AI acting gets, I could never do the same. And that is because there can be no true development, or thought, or process, or intent behind any of it. The people pushing this stuff are not actors, or artists, or creatives in general. People who actually value art and see worth in not just the end product, but all the work that went into making it. The messy, hard, and difficult process of making something that ultimately expresses a small part of yourself. All of that means nothing to a pig with its face stuffed in the slop trough, unconcerned with whatever shit is being forced down its throat as long as something is there. People who see human expression as something to be condensed and ground into something vaguely consumable do so and then shit it out without a second thought. What can you possibly say about something like that other than it's shit? Nothing. There's nothing there other than just what it is. Nothing more and nothing less than nothing. And I'd happily take a million bad, or weird, or controversial, or flawed human expressions over nothing. A big thank you to all my patrons, in particular my tier 3 patrons Michael Coolwood, El Bigante and Fox. If you'd like to support me as well, then link to my Patreon is in the description. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later. Bye bye.